Hello climbers, lovely to see you again. Hope you've all had good weeks. It's got very hot, hasn't it? Hope you've all been eating lots of ice cream. Well, I've been thinking about God looking after us. And, well, I've thought about some people who look after us. Can you think of anyone who looks after you? I've got some ideas here. So your mummy and daddy, they look after you. And then if you were sick or poorly, maybe a doctor or nurse would look after you. Maybe you go to school or nursery and your teacher looks after you. And there are lots of other people who might look after you, like Millie, Mark, Margaret, Claire and me. When we're in church and doing climbers, we look after you. But if you can read, you can see that this says here, God looks after us the best. You see, all these people do a great job of looking after us, but God looks after us the best. Well, do you remember Joseph? And he'd been sold by his brothers and taken down to Egypt. Do you remember he was sold to the Ishmaelites? And the Ishmaelites sold Joseph on to an Egyptian man called Potiphar. So Joseph went to be a slave for Potiphar. Poor Joseph, living in a land far away, having to be a slave. Do you think he was happy or sad? Can you show it on your face? That's right, I think he was really sad. Well, today we're going to be thinking about how God was looking after Joseph all the time. So listen out for me saying, God looked after Joseph. And you can remember each time how God looks after us even better than all these people look after us. Well, Joseph was very sad. He was having to be a slave, and he was far, far away from home in a different country. But God looked after Joseph. And he helped Joseph to do a really good job in Potiphar's house. And Potiphar saw that God looked after Joseph. And he saw that Potiphar got loads of good things because of Joseph being blessed by God. So he made him his personal servant, and then he made him in charge of his house. Then he made him in charge of everything he had. So Joseph became very, very important. God was so kind to Joseph to make that happen. God does look after us. God looked after Joseph. How do you think Joseph felt now? Do you think he was still really sad or maybe a bit happier? I think a bit happier. Let's all have a happy face. Well done. Now, Potiphar had a wife. And Potiphar's wife wanted Joseph to be her boyfriend. Now, that's not good because she was married to Potiphar. Joseph said no. He kept saying no and she kept asking him. And he said, Potiphar has put me in charge of everything that he has. Everything I can do whatever I want with, except you. You're his wife. How could I do such an evil thing? It's a sin against God. Well, Potiphar's wife, she was angry. She kept trying to get him to be her boyfriend, and he kept saying no. Well, how do you think Joseph would feel now? Maybe a bit worried. But he trusted God. He knew that God was looking after him. Potiphar's wife was so angry that one day she played a mean trick on him. Joseph went to work as usual, and Potiphar's wife grabbed his coat after playing this mean trick on him, and he ran out the house when Potiphar got home, she showed him the coat and said, "Look, this slave Joseph has done something horrible. When he came near me, I screamed, and he ran away, but he left his coat. Look." Well, poor Joseph, that wasn't fair at all. He hadn't done anything wrong. And Potiphar was really angry because he believed his wife. So he threw Joseph in jail. Poor Joseph, how unfair. He didn't do anything wrong, but he's been put in prison. How do you think he felt? Can you show me on your face? Really sad. It was so unfair. But God looked after Joseph still and showed him lots of kindness. God caused the prison warden to like Joseph, and the prison warden put him in charge of all the prisoners. He was in charge of everything that was done in the prison. The warden trusted Joseph. This was because God looked after Joseph. Just like before, God made Joseph do well in everything he did. So how do you think Joseph felt now? That's right, I think a little bit happier. Happy faces, everyone. You see, God looked after Joseph in the good times and the bad times. And we have a song now that we're going to sing about God being there in the good times and the bad times.
Hello everybody, it's Louise and Katie and Sam, and today we've been asked to do our action song. Now this action song is the one that the children did on the church weekend away. So we'll remind you the actions and then you can sing with us. You need your thumbs for this. You ready? So it goes, sometimes good things happen, sometimes bad things happen, sometimes happy things happen, sometimes sad things happen, and God is always there. Right, should we sing together?
Sometimes good things happen, God is there. Sometimes bad things happen, God is there too. Good or bad, happy or sad, I know that God is there. Sometimes good things happen, God is there. Sometimes bad things happen, God is there too. Good or bad, happy or sad, I know that God is there. Whoa, He's there. Whoa, He's there. Good or bad, happy or sad, I know that God is there. Sometimes good things happen, God is there. Sometimes bad things happen, God is there too. Good or bad, happy or sad, I know that God is there. Whoa, He's there. Whoa, He's there. Good or bad, happy or sad, I know that God is there. Whoa, He's there. Whoa, He's there. Good or bad, happy or sad, I know that God is there.
with us. Bye!
Bye-bye.
Great. Well, do you remember in our story how Joseph was a slave, but God blessed him and God looked after him so that he became in charge of Potiphar's household? God made him really important. And then when everything went wrong with Potiphar's wife, even then God looked after Joseph. And Joseph knew he was being looked after by God and he trusted him. And then when he got thrown in prison, God still looked after Joseph. He looked after him and made him really important in the prison. Well, sometimes good things happen and God is there. And sometimes bad things happen and God is still there, like it said in our song. I wonder whether you're feeling happy or sad, or maybe something else at the moment. Well, if you're friends with Jesus, whatever you're feeling, God is looking after you. So we're going to pray now. We're going to do a hands up prayer first, like we do in Climbers, with our hands up and finishing wow. Dear God, thank you that you always look after your friends. Wow. And now hands in prayer. Dear God, please help us remember you are looking after us when we are happy and when we are sad. Amen. And now we'll finish with the Lord's Prayer. Our Father in heaven, hallowed be your name. Your kingdom come, your will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us today our daily bread, and forgive us our sins, as we forgive those who sin against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For the kingdom, the power, and the glory are yours, now and forever. Amen. Brilliant job, everyone. Look forward to seeing you next week. Bye.